Ibrahim Traoré revealed the truth after being poisoned. In the heart of West Africa, a nation stands at a crossroads. Burkina Faso, a land rich in history and resilience, has faced storms that have tested its spirit time and again. Tonight, the air is thick with anticipation. The streets echo with whispers of hope and fear. Leaders gather, allies converse, and a nation watches, yearning for peace and progress. But on this night, beneath the surface of celebration and unity, a moment unfolds that will change the course of history. A moment when trust is shattered, and the very life of a man who embodies the hopes of millions hangs in the balance. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a figure both revered and contested, sits among his closest advisors. The dinner table is alive with conversation, laughter, and the clinking of glasses. Plans are made, futures debated, and the weight of leadership shared. Suddenly, the atmosphere shifts. A subtle gesture, a hand to the neck, a faltering breath. The room falls silent as realization dawns. The unthinkable has happened. The president has been poisoned. Ibrahim Traoré. To the resilience of Burkina Faso, and to the future we are building together. Cabinet Member 1. And may our enemies find no rest in their schemes. Cabinet Member 2. The reforms you've pushed through, Captain, are already making waves. The people are beginning to believe again. Ibrahim Traoré. It's only the beginning. We have a long road ahead, but with unity, we can overcome any challenge. Cabinet Member 3. Captain, if you keep us this busy, we'll need more dinners like this just with less paperwork tomorrow. Ibrahim Traoré. I promise, tonight is for celebration. Tomorrow, we return to the grind. Suddenly, Traoré's expression changes. He places a hand to his neck, his smile falters. The room quiets as he coughs softly, then more forcefully. Cabinet Member 3. Mr. President. Are you all right? Traoré's hand trembles as he tries to steady himself. He looks around, eyes wide with sudden pain. Ibrahim Traoré. I don't feel well. Cabinet Member 4. The president has been poisoned. Ibrahim Traoré. Stay calm. We will get through this. Find out who did this. Traoré's early years in the army were defined by discipline and courage. He served on the front lines against a growing jihadist insurgency, witnessing firsthand the suffering of his people and the failures of leadership that left entire communities vulnerable. Among his peers, he became known simply as IBA leader who stood with his men, not above them. In 2022, Burkina Faso was a nation on edge. The government, led by President Roch Kabore, had lost the trust of its people. Attacks by extremist groups were escalating, and the military's patience was wearing thin. A first coup in January ousted Kabore, but the new leadership, under Paul-Henri Sandaogo Damiba, failed to deliver security or hope. Captain Ibrahim Traoré, then just 34 years old, emerged as the voice of a frustrated generation of soldiers. He and his comrades, many from the elite Cobra unit, demanded a renewed focus on defeating the insurgency. When their calls went unanswered, they acted. On September 30, 2022, Traoré led a coup that would make him the world's youngest head of state. Unlike those before him, Traoré's leadership was marked by a rare humility. He refused the customary salary of a president, choosing instead to keep his military captain's wage. He slashed government salaries by 30%, redirected funds to raise workers' pay, and demanded that the nation's mineral wealth benefit its people, not foreign companies. His reforms were bold: a new mining code, national ownership stakes in gold operations, and a crackdown on corruption. For the first time in decades, hope flickered in the eyes of ordinary Burkinabe. Yet, these changes also made powerful enemies both at home and abroad. Burkina Faso's path to this moment was paved with turmoil. Since independence in 1960, the nation has endured a long history of coups, each one a response to broken promises and mounting insecurity. The jihadist insurgency has claimed thousands of lives, displaced millions, and left entire regions in fear. Within this landscape, the Presidential Security Regiment once Compares Iron Fist loomed large. Feared and respected, the RSP was both protector and power broker, shaping the fate of presidents and the nation itself. Even after its official dissolution, its legacy of elite loyalty and shadowy intrigue haunted the corridors of power. He's the first president in my lifetime who puts the people first. He's not afraid to take on the old powers, to say enough to exploitation. Critic. But at what cost? Military rule is not democracy. We traded one strongman for another. The people deserve a voice, not just a savior with a gun. Analyst. Traoré's popularity is real, especially among the youth. His reforms are radical, and his anti-colonial rhetoric resonates. But the risks are equally real: repression of dissent, forced conscription, and the ever-present threat of another coup. Every day, the threat of violence looms. Traoré's government faces not just insurgents, but also internal rivals and foreign interests unsettled by his reforms. Multiple coup attempts have been foiled. The Presidential Security Regiment, though restructured, remains a vital shield and a reminder of past betrayals. Return to the immediate aftermath of the poisoning attempt. The dining room is tense, security personnel rushing in, cabinet members in shock. Minister of Defense. Lock down the building. No one leaves until we know what happened. Get the medical team now. We need to stabilize him before we move. Minister of Mines. Who would dare do this? After everything he's done for this country. Minister of Finance. This is exactly what they want. To throw us into chaos, to stop the reforms. We cannot let fear win. We need to question everyone who had access to the kitchen and the dining hall. No one is above suspicion, not tonight. Traoré weak, but resolute. Do not let this divide us. Burkina Faso must stand together. Find the truth, but do it with justice. As the night stretches on, the search for answers begins. Outside, the city holds its breath. Inside, a nation's fate hangs in the balance. The story of Ibrahim Traoré, his rise, his reforms, and this attempt on his life is not just the story of a man, but of a people determined to reclaim their destiny, no matter the cost. A member of President Traoré's own inner circle, a man whose loyalty had never been questioned, was the chosen instrument. For months, he had moved quietly, gathering intelligence, waiting for the perfect moment. It was at this high-profile dinner, surrounded by the president's closest allies, that the plan was set in motion: a cup of tea, indistinguishable from the rest, laced with a rare, slow-acting neurotoxin, VXT42. Tasteless, odorless, and lethal within minutes. This was not a crude attempt. The poison used was sophisticated, nearly impossible to detect. Whoever orchestrated this had access to resources and inside knowledge. The timing, the method, the choice of agent, it all points to a well-funded, highly connected network. Intelligence analyst. Traoré's survival was not luck. His intelligence network had intercepted coded communications weeks before the dinner. There were whispers of a plot, references to a final cup. The president's team had been monitoring his food and drink, rotating staff, and tracking suspicious movements within the palace. Traoré's response was measured and deliberate. He refused to show fear or suspicion in public, determined to protect his staff and avoid panic. Instead, he quietly signaled his aides, who began a silent lockdown of the palace. The dinner continued, but beneath the surface, a covert investigation was already underway. Traoré, in a hushed voice to his security chief. Trust no one. Start with the kitchen. Check every camera, every entry. No one leaves until we know who did this. Government official. The president's calm was remarkable. He understood the stakes not just for himself, but for the stability of the entire nation. The investigation had to be thorough, but also silent. Any sign of weakness could embolden his enemies. The investigation quickly uncovered more than just a single traitor. Hidden in the bag of the young tea server was a black notebook coded names, meeting dates, payment records, and one name that appeared again and again, El Shakal, the Jackal, a shadowy figure known to operate in the murky world of foreign espionage and mercenary politics. Colonel Connate, confronted with the evidence, denied everything. He blamed the server, claimed ignorance, and insisted he was being framed. But Traoré was not interested in denials. He wanted proof. The notebook, cross-referenced with intercepted communications, revealed encrypted transactions and a large bank transfer routed through the Cayman Islands just days before the attempt. Captain Zongo, lead investigator. We had the names. We had the money trail. But the most chilling detail was the connection to foreign operatives' calls traced to Abidjan, encrypted messages to Paris. This was bigger than a palace coup. This was an international operation. As the investigation deepened, it became clear that the poisoning attempt was only one piece of a much larger puzzle. Disaffected military officers, terrorist groups, and foreign interests especially from France and Ivory Coast were implicated. Traoré's bold moves to reclaim Burkina Faso's resources, expel foreign troops, and cut exploitative contracts had made powerful enemies abroad. Traoré, reflecting to his advisors. Our independence and our rights over our resources disturb them. They will not stop until they control us again. But this time, we are ready. Analyst. Burkina Faso has accused France of orchestrating destabilization efforts, with evidence of military bases and covert operations in neighboring countries. The poisoning plot was just the most visible symptom of a much deeper campaign of interference. As arrests were made and suspects paraded before investigators, the government released a carefully worded statement: the president had survived an assassination attempt, the plotters were in custody, and the investigation was ongoing. The public, already wary from years of coups and violence, erupted in debate. Some saw the attempt as proof of Traoré's vulnerability. Others rallied behind him, inspired by his resilience and refusal to be cowed by threats from within or without. Political analyst. This incident has only strengthened Traoré's image as a leader who cannot be intimidated. But it has also exposed the depth of division and the lengths to which his enemies will go to stop him. He is the lion of Burkina Faso. They tried to poison him, but he is still standing. We will not let outsiders decide our future. The aftermath of the poisoning attempt ushered in a new era of vigilance. Traoré reorganized his security apparatus, implementing stricter background checks and rotating teams to prevent further infiltration. Trusted officers were promoted, suspected traitors quietly removed. Every meal, every meeting, every movement was now a calculated risk. But Traoré's team did not merely play defense. Using information from captured conspirators, they began feeding false intelligence to foreign agents, turning the tables on those who sought to destabilize the country. Several foreign operatives were exposed, arrested, or quietly deported. Burkina Faso, once the prey, had become the hunter. Traoré, addressing his cabinet. We are not just defending ourselves. We are defending the future of our nation. Let them come, we are ready. As Traoré slowly regained his strength, the message was clear: the battle for Burkina Faso's soul was far from over. The lion had been tested, but he had not blinked. His enemies, both foreign and domestic, had underestimated the resolve of a leader and a people determined to reclaim their destiny. The morning after the foiled assassination attempt, the government wasted no time. Security Minister Mahamadou Sanaa appeared on national television, his voice steady but urgent, announcing to the nation and the world: we have successfully thwarted a plot against the life of President Ibrahim Traoré. The conspirators, current and former soldiers, aided by terrorist leaders and foreign interests, have been arrested. Investigations continue. The Republic stands firm. The news spreads fast. In the streets, some citizens embrace, others debate heatedly at cafes and market stalls. Supporters rally, waving flags and chanting the president's name. He saw it coming. He saved himself and all of us. If he can survive this, maybe he can save Burkina Faso. But not everyone is convinced. In quieter corners, doubts linger. How deep does betrayal go? Are we safe, or just waiting for the next attempt? Ibrahim Traoré, address to the nation. My fellow citizens. I stand before you today because of the vigilance of patriots and the grace of destiny. There are those who would see Burkina Faso bow to foreign masters, who would use treachery to halt our march toward sovereignty. But let it be known, we will not be intimidated. We will not be divided. Justice will prevail. I call on all Burkinabe soldiers, farmers, teachers, youth to unite against those who threaten our peace, whether they come from within or beyond our borders. Our struggle is not just for today, but for the generations to come. We must remain vigilant, reject foreign interference, and build a nation worthy of our dreams. Analyst 1. The President's address was more than reassurance, it was a declaration of intent. He's drawing a line: Burkina Faso will not be a pawn in the games of foreign powers. But the risks remain. Military rule, no matter how popular, brings its own dangers. The challenge now is to channel this unity into lasting reforms, not just survival. Burkina Faso's story is one of resilience and resistance. From the revolutionary days of Sankara to the present, the dream of true independence has endured, tested by coups, foreign interference, and the ever-present threat of violence. The attempt on Traoré's life is not just a chapter in his presidency, but a reflection of the ongoing struggle against neocolonialism, the battle for control over resources, and the fight for a national identity forged in adversity. Narrator. In the face of betrayal, the Burkinabe people have chosen unity. In the shadow of fear, they have chosen hope. The lesson of this moment is clear: vigilance, justice, and the unbreakable will of a people are the true guardians of freedom. The story of Ibrahim Traoré is not just about one man's survival. It is a call for justice, for transparency, and for the defense of national sovereignty. In the face of betrayal, Burkina Faso chose truth and unity. The question now echoes far beyond these borders: will the world stand with them? Burkina Faso's struggle is the struggle of every nation that has ever faced exploitation, division, or the shadow of foreign interference. It is a reminder that the price of freedom is vigilance, and the reward is dignity. The People's Revolution is not just a slogan, it is a living, breathing movement, fueled by the courage of those who refuse to bow. We urge you, stay informed. Support independent journalism that brings the truth to light. Raise your voice for justice and peace, not only in Africa, but wherever the rights of people are threatened. Advocate for leaders who put their citizens first, who reject corruption and foreign domination. And remember, the fight for sovereignty is not won in a day, it is a lifelong commitment. From the ashes of the crisis, a new Burkina Faso is rising. Factories hum with activity, communities reclaim their land, and hope is no longer a distant dream. The scars of betrayal remain, but they are outshone by the spirit of a people determined to build a future on their own terms. Ibrahim Traoré. We are the authors of our own destiny. We will not be defined by the plots against us, but by the unity and resolve with which we answer them. The world is watching. Let us show them the power of a free and sovereign Burkina Faso. As the sun sets on this chapter, the flame of revolution burns brighter than ever. The journey is far from over, but the path is clear: vigilance, unity, and justice will guide the way. While revolutionaries as individuals can be murdered, you cannot kill ideas.